Hello again. We have one last observation we'd like to show you before the summary video on these experiments. For this observation, we placed 3 of the same sized buttons along the floor at 14, 16, and 18 feet from the viewer. This is the temperature data for the observation. Here are the objects at the start of the observation.
Okay, so what I'm doing right now is inserting my own image because this is a concept correlation. You have to correlate these two ideas together because what SKYFREE has done and what others and I have produced are correlative. So, while the conditions in which my observations are being made are more static, consistent, uniform, the images and the conditions that SKYFREE produces with their introduction to cold air into a warm environment, that is more dynamic and it's going to happen faster. It's like a time lapse, okay? So what I want you to try to do right now is to just simply think conceptually because they prove what all of us flat earthers already know, and that is the medium is the obstruction. Every single smurfing time, the medium is the obstruction. Okay? So SKYFREE is going to show you 3 buttons in a row. You can see them all. 1, 2, 3. And then they open the door, and then you lose sight of the 3rd button. That is correlative to the point at which in these stills that I show you, because I don't have the time to sit there on I-10 and wait for the environment to change to show you the transition, when you start not to see the base of these power lines, the only reason why you start not to see the base of these power lines is because refraction has swallowed up the light and is not letting you see it even though it's right there in front of your eyes. Okay?
And here we open the patio door.
Okay, right here at this point, you just had a sped up time-lapse zippity-doo-dah fast-forward demonstration in real time of a dynamic system where the light gets swallowed up by the medium. This is why you don't see the base of the towers, the power lines, or the wind turbines, or whatever it is. You just had it demonstrated to you how something can disappear in front of your eyes that's right in front of your eyes. And it is not due to Earth curvature. Okay? Alright, so what I'm going to do right now is just show you a bit more of what's behind the curtain here when SKYFREE opens up their patio door and lets the air in. I want you to pay attention to what happens to the size and location of these buttons, okay? That is where the location of the proximate button is. This is the location of the farthest button. This is going to represent the button, the button's location for another point of contrast here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just slide the time marker forward. Okay, so what we have here now is what happens out over aquatic distance. All right, if this were one of the oil platforms like Habitat or Hillsong or whatever, and then there's an island out, you know, so everything, when you have an index of refraction, everything is apparent. Okay, so we just watched everything shift down. It drops down. All right, now that is not the physical location of this button. That is not the physical size of the button. The button doubled in size. This button doubled in size and lost some of its opacity. And then the third button disappeared altogether. And this is the location of the third button. Okay, so what I want you to understand right now is that the limit of the floor, to the previous location of the button is physical distance. Okay, so let's work this backwards. I'm doing this off the cuff, so bear with me while I work through this, but I just thought of this right now. Okay, so now we're going to go back. We're going to go back to where it began. All right, everything's right there, okay? All right, so now this button is 14 feet, 16 feet, 18 feet. I believe that's the mark. Let me just go back. Okay, 14, 16, 18. Yeah, okay. So, all right. So this is 14 feet, this is 18 feet. So from here to here is 4 feet of distance in this degree that you're looking, right? You're looking over 4 feet of distance. Now, from here to here, how much is 4 feet? We would have to change the scale. The scale is going to be different. But what I want you to understand is when this... Here, let's just do it. Okay, I just pushed play, so we're just going to watch it in slow motion. They just opened the door. Right, everything's dropping. I'm going to give it a minute just to kind of settle out and equalize. Okay. So, let me do this now. Okay, so let me think through what I'm trying to point out to you. So what I'm trying to point out to you right now is that this now is the apparent location of the floor, right? So now let's go back. Okay, so now this location is more in the foreground than this button. But what's the distance between this location and the button? We don't know. We could do some, yeah, so let's just say it's another 4 feet. Let's just say it's another 4 feet. Okay? So what that means is is that when the full refraction comes in, you've now... Get my thoughts back. When the full index of refraction comes in and it stabilizes, you now have 8 feet of distance in that degree right here. Okay? Now there's 8 feet instead of 4. Now if you put that out in terms of the images that I produce, okay? Alright? This is the same idea. Now you have the fold line for the inferior mirage. This is an inferior mirage right here. Okay? So now that degree is representative not in feet, but in miles. In miles. This is now the same as the floor that we're looking at in SKYFREE's image, okay? Right? Here's this is the ocean. Here's the ocean. This is where the water stops. Okay? Here's the ocean. Here's the ocean. This is where the water stops. This band of refraction is along the x-axis into the distance, and if our understanding of where the horizon is for a person 6 foot on the shoreline, which is where this image is taken from. This is one of my earliest images that I have of the Channel Islands, and when I was first shooting these, I was on the beach. Okay, so I'm less than 10 feet. Okay, so let's just make this 5 miles. Let's just say this horizon is 5 miles. Do you now know how much distance is in this degree of refraction? 15 miles. Okay, 15 miles. That's what's happening. I hope that that makes sense. I hope that that is clear. Okay? So, again, we have just added, in my opinion, and this is where the science needs to be done, we have just added 4 feet of obscured distance, right? So here's where the mirage... Here's where the mirage stabilized. And here's where the mirage started. Okay, so this is what happens when you have overlapping images. Alright, so now from the finger to this first button is 4 feet of distance. From this finger to that button, let's see, this is... Okay, 14, 16, 18, that's 4. If this is 4, right? So what I would want SKYFREE to do now is to mark this location so that you know how far away this is. Do everything the same again, except mark something 4 feet in front, and let's see what happens. But okay, so now we've got 8 feet, right? Just do it again. Okay, here comes the air. And now the refraction is going to swallow up, it's going to eat up 4 feet of distance. Okay? And let's not forget that the last button is now invisible, right? And this is what the problem is with taking one photograph and saying, look, this is curvature. If this were a real life picture out in nature, and let's say that the buttons were actually oil platforms, if you were to take this picture and say, there should be a third oil rig. We can't see that third oil rig. Why can't we see that third oil rig? It must be behind the curve. Look, this photograph proves curvature because we can't see the third oil platform. Okay? Think about how profound that is, right? You should now know that it's not looming. When you go out the next day and you think, oh, well, there it is. Well, that must be looming. It must be bringing that image up from behind the curve. No, it was always there. I've said this forever. Everything in front of you is in your line of sight. If you cannot see it, refraction is the obstruction every single time. Okay? I would love to hear feedback if anybody has any thoughts on this. So I'm going to just wrap this part up. I'm going to go back to editing the other one. See ya in a minute. I'm back. I just had another think. What I'm about to suggest, I've said on my channel before, but it bears repeating. I don't believe that I have seen this in any of the discussions. I don't think they are looking at this with open eyes. I think that just like Indiana Jones and Sala figured out that the Germans didn't have all of the information, and so they were digging in the wrong place.
I can't figure out how Bellick did it. Where do you get a copy of the headpiece? There are no pictures, no duplicates of it anywhere.
I tell you only what I saw with my own eyes. A headpiece like that one, except round the edges, which were rougher. In the center, the Frenchman had embedded a crystal, and surrounding the crystal, on one side, there were raised markings, just like that one.
They made the calculations in the map room?
This morning. The Look and the boss German, Dietrich. When they came out of the map room, they gave us a new spot in which to dig. Out, away from the camp.
The Well of the Souls, huh?
Come, look here, look. Sit down. Come, sit down.
What is it?
This is a warning not to disturb the Ark of the Covenant.
What about the height of the staff, though? Did Bellick get it off of here?
Yes, it is here. This was the old way. This means 6 kadam high.
About 72 inches.
Wait! And take back 1 kadam to honor the Hebrew God whose ark this is.
You said their headpiece only had markings on one side. You absolutely sure?
Bellock's staff is too long.
They're digging in the wrong place. I am the monarch of the sea. I am the ruler of the
Bad maths. I think that the science in this field is myopic. So here's my point. I believe that most let me take it to the spot where I want to go. Okay, so this is now advanced so that this area from the former location, well, that's still the former visual location of the button. Now I believe, okay, so now we're looking at this image right here, from the apparent spot of the floor to the apparent position of where the button used to be. I believe that the science and the scientists think that that is a vertical image. It's not. Whenever you see a mirage, you are not looking at a vertical image, 90-degree image. You are looking at an image that extends along the x-axis into the distance, right? So from here to here, that's not vertical. That's three-dimensional. Okay, that's going along that axis of distance. All right? Mirages, when we see these mirages, when we see this is not vertical. However, when a scientist looks out at this island, they think that the degree from here to here is vertical. They think that this degree represented by this box is physical island. There's an assumption that they're making here, and their assumption is incorrect. So when you look out into the distance with your naked eye and you see the limit of the water and you see the limit of the island, that is an apparent reality, because that last little bit of the island is a mirage. It's not physical island. All right, so what I'm doing right now is I'm going to show you one of my best captures. You'll have to watch it on maybe I'll try to remember to put a link in the a link up here somewhere. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right here to show you that right here there is an activity of refraction. I'm going to call it the fold line because we have, in my opinion, we have the entire image of the phenomenon, right? Up here is the erect image, and down here is the mirrored. Okay, so this is the top of the freighter. This is the top of the freighter, mirrored and stretched. Okay, you can see it right there. That, in my opinion, is where the fold line is. Now, under here, right there, you see that light blue band above the water? That is mirrored sky. This is a Flying Dutchman phenomenon. If the band of the sky were greater, it would look like this boat were actually floating in the sky. This is what I'm trying to tell you, is that when you're looking out here, that's not the sky right there. That is not the sky. That is an inferior mirage, and you're not going to know it unless you watch these phenomena happen. Now, this is Gale. This is platform Gale. And you can see right here, that light and that light right there above the water, that's the mirrored image, okay? So there is an inferior mirage right here, okay? So that is not vertical. This is not vertical. This mirage is not vertical. It is along the x-axis. Now, this out here is farther away. Okay, the shipping lane, I think, is about 13 miles out from the shore. Gale is somewhere around 10 miles, so there's another 3 miles between. Okay, but okay. My point is that this is not vertical. This is not vertical. It's just like looking over this distance here. Farther, 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 farther. Not up. We're not going up now. We're not going up now. That's distance. Farther, 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 farther. Physical ship. Okay, wrap your head around that. Wrap your head around that. I have not seen anyone discussing this. So if you know of anybody who is, by all means, put me in contact with them. Sorry that this video is taking so long, but this is how I do. It's how I do. Love me. Just love me. And I'm back. I have so many videos out. It's impossible. It's impossible. Don't hurt yourself, kid. I have so many videos out that say these things over and over and over and over again. So it bears repeating. We're going to do it right here. All right. Because this is more to the concept of SKYFREE's video, we have distance here, a combination of a x and y axis, because this is at an angle to us, right? So it's a little bit of both. It's not straight out in front of us. So you can see here the bases, they're going, and then right here the curtain starts to wave. Okay, right there, that is bigger than that. That is bigger than that. That is bigger than that. These, however, are all the same angular physical size until this distance kicks in and the Aether band at this distance kicks in. This is all now apparent. However, it is still the same physical level. All the way. They're all still right there. They're all still right there. Nothing is dropping down behind the curve physically. This is all optical. This should not be difficult based on what you just saw. Okay? All of this is just like the button that got elongated as the medium changed as quickly as it did in their small scale demonstration. Okay? I mean, that's not physical. This is not physical side. This is not physical. You can't look at this and think that as soon as the water ends and this white rectangle starts, that's a physical object. No. You can see it develop right there. You can see the small little thin mirrored image underneath, and then it's merging, and then it's completely merged. Okay? Everything out here is mirage at this degree. And you have to then realize that where this water ends and where this land appear to meet right here, that is not physical land. So you're not going to see the shoreline. I can't see the shoreline. Where's the shoreline? it's hard not to mock. Okay, look, if you're coming at this from a grassroots interest, I'm not mocking you. I'm mocking the globe flakes out there that do not think. Okay? This is not hard. This is not hard. All right. Now to this one, because the same idea is here, okay? This boat right here, that is an inferior mirage. That is not the physical location of the boat at the horizon. That boat is beyond the horizon. However, the image that you see, these pointy fingers are so incongruent with smooth, fluid motion. It just does not. See, look at this. Okay? The limit of this water right... The limit of this... the limit of this water right here is 100% the effect of refraction. Okay? I think that this was an initial video. You can clearly see the dance of the waves in the band. Okay? Anyway, my point is that where this horizon starts to the boat is a physical distance that we do not know. It is a very acute angle. See, I can't even get that pointer where I want it right there. It's going to go up too high now. Watch. See? Okay? That angle right there is physical distance. Okay? Right here, this is an inferior mirage. You can clearly see the topography go down into the band and then come back out. You see that thin little tiny reflection of the sky right there? That's this right here. Do you know what you can't see right here? Do you know what's there, but you can't see it? You ready? I am going to show you an image of this island that I took from about 2 to 3 miles away. I have scaled it to the size of this lighthouse here. This lighthouse is 20 miles away from me, and I'm going to do what the ballers do. I'm going to do what the Globeflakes do. Jose JG, Erebus, Sean G, all you knuckleheads, I'm going to do a blink test. You ready for the blink test? Here's your blink test. Hey, here it comes. You ready? Here it comes. Boom. That lighthouse at 20 miles is scaled to the same angular size at 3. Everything in this image is in this image. Everything. Okay? Ballers, Globeflakes, are gonna say that that's curvature. That's where the curve of the earth starts. So that this is what they believe. They believe this. They believe that the arch is right here on the other side. Okay? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Okay, now let's do the opposite here. I'm going to now measure the physical, right? So now let's get the island about. Let's say, because we're looking out, we're looking out here and our eyes aren't that acute, but we think this is the whole island, right? we're not really paying attention over here. Let me get rid of this real quick. We're not really paying attention. We're not really paying attention right here to this. You know, we're just looking out. We're only looking right here. We think this is physical island right here. We think that's the physical island. Okay? And we're wrong. So, let's now scale this to match the physical island, right? There's that right there. See, I'm taking the top of this image up to the top of the island there. Well, guess what? We should be seeing this. But look at this, isn't even to scale. Look, I'm going to match up the lighthouse. Look how short the topography is. Right? So look at here. So here's the saddleback, right? Here's the saddleback right there. Let's match that up. Oh, oh look, why isn't the lighthouse matched up? I matched up this part. George I matched up this part. What's the bigger? What? Okay, people. I'm your Copernicus. I'm your Huckleberry. Mic drop.